going to do for you today a Moroccan fish dish with some vegetable stir fry. So most important thing about this dish is it's got a huge amount of spices in. Kind of made this up, but I've experimented with them and it tastes pretty good. So we're going to roll with it. We have got some paprika. We're going to go with a little bit of cinnamon, just a dash, some turmeric, some cardamom, and we've got here some cumin. Then of course our favourite salt and pepper, a little bit of dried chili flakes and some basil. Great spices to have in your kitchen no matter what. Huge fan of using spices because you can make lots of different variations with all of your dishes. Then we've got some finely chopped onion, some white fish, about 150 grams to 200 grams depending on what portion size you want to use, some fresh lemon, green beans, some cherry tomatoes and sliced mushrooms, and our favourite at Bikini Fit, we've got some zucchini noodles, just shredded zucchini basically. So first thing I'm going to do is marinate my fish. Now this is really good if you can do it overnight because the lemon that you put in actually helps to soften it a lot and kind of pre-cooks it a little bit. But if you don't have time, you can honestly just do it on the fly and it will marinate a little bit anyway whilst you're doing the vegetables. So I'm going to put in a really generous portion of lemon with my fish. So it's going to start to just basically cook it a bit with the juices of the lemon. Now here's the fun part, I'm going to start putting my spices in. Honestly, just a dash of everything. So that's our paprika, just a little bit of cinnamon because it's quite strong. I love a generous helping of turmeric. Some cardamom. Sprinkle that in, not too much. You can see it's looking nice and colourful. A little bit of cumin. And chili. Cracked black pepper. And a little bit of salt to finish. Going to actually leave my basil for the veggies. So what we're going to do is just get the fish so that it's doused in those herbs. Alright, so fish is nice and coated as you can see, and there's plenty of extra juice there to cook it in. Now I'm just going to whack mine in the fridge for a little bit and come back to it. And I'm going to get on with my veggie prep. First thing I'm going to do, turn my pan on as usual and just turn it down a little bit. Put some coconut oil in it already. I'm just going to melt that. Alright, pan's nice and hot. I'm going to put in half a chopped onion. Stir that in. We're going to put in first our green beans because they take a little bit longer to cook. So I've just got a handful here, that's probably plenty, and I've just chopped them up into half pieces just to get them to cook. Now with the green beans, I'm just going to put the lid on. They take just a little bit of time to get soft. You can actually make them in the microwave first if you want to speed the dish up a little bit. Alright, so the lid's been on the beans for a couple of minutes and you can see they've gotten a little bit softer, which is great. I'm going to chuck in the rest of my veggies. Now, I'm going to put in some whole cherry tomatoes and some chopped mushrooms, white or brown mushrooms, doesn't really matter. Yeah, we'll put quite a few tomatoes in there. I'm just going to press them down a little bit into the pan and just burst them a little bit. It's going to help to soften them up and get some juices going in the veggies. So I'm going to chuck in my grated zucchini. That doesn't need very long to cook at all, so always best to just chuck that in at the end. And we're just going to stir it through until it gets nice and soft. Now at this point, just for a tiny bit of added flavour, I'm going to put in some dried basil. Just a dash. Now what we're going to do is plate these veggies up. We're going to grab the fish out of the fridge. So it's just been resting in the marinade. And we're going to pop it into our pan. So we're just going to pour any extra juice from the marinade with the fish. I'm going to turn that up a little bit so it can sizzle away. Alright, so I'm just going to press that into the pan and put the lid on. Just put it on about a medium heat and we're just going to let that cook. So just about any white fish is good for this. I've found sea bass is actually really quite nice, tends to soak up the flavours quite well. Also a nice thin fish is good because it won't take that long to cook. It's really easy just to do a couple of minutes each side. However, if you do end up with a thick cut of fish, which I actually have today, just cut it down the middle and then you can butterfly it, make 2 thinner pieces and it cooks much easier. Alright, so that's been a couple of minutes on each side now and it's looking good. Now I'm just going to check it. If you just use a spatula and a knife and you just separate it a tiny bit, what you're basically looking for is just seeing a white flesh. You don't want to overdo it too much, but if it still looks a little bit translucent, it might need a little bit longer, but this is looking quite good. Okay, so I'm just actually going to take this over, put this onto my board, and we're going to come back to our veggies real quick, because we're going to chuck our veggies back in the pan just to heat them up again. And also, they're just going to collect some of the juice from the fish as well. So we're going to get that nice spicy flavour through the whole dish. Okay, so we've plated up our fish on top of our vegetables. As always, we're just going to finish it off with a tiny squeeze of lemon and some fresh parsley on top. Make it look pretty, nice and appetizing. There you go. Quite simple, girls. So we've got our fish, lean white fish, really good source of protein. We've got heaps of fibre in there with our vegetables, really low carb, not really any fats in there at all. So this is a really good meal if you want to go either fats or carbs. You're trying to keep your macros slightly separate. You could add in some fats if you want to, or add in some carbs if it's a post-training meal, or just have it as it is. Perfect, nice and simple, really delicious. Thanks, girls.